It's just a fee for a time. In my mind, it's like, you're going to give me 2 hours of your time, theoretically, and you're charging me something. Geez, that's expensive. On the day, it's like, geez, you're worth twice as much as that.
And they took forever to get back to me, and in the end, I was bored, I'd moved on. So in hindsight, you are my biggest regret.
Hey, be sure you stick around because we're only getting warmed up.
I can't do that. It looks weird.
Joking.
Oh, you're joking? Yeah. Right, okay. How are we doing? Well, we're back with another podcast, Think Wedding Business, with me, Howard Wing, and him, Adam Wing. I know it's been a while. We've been really busy in the summer, but we're kicking.
You weren't quite in the zone with the intro.
I'm not in the zone, as you can tell, can't you? A bit out of practice. But today's a really good one, guys, especially if you're a wedding supplier who often wonders how you got booked, why you got booked, what made the difference with the couples choosing you to do their wedding. So we thought, why not get an actual bride and groom who've just got married and ask them all those important questions. So here we are. Welcome to Julie and Richard, the new Mr. and Mrs. McCabe, or Macabre. I've just got to put it out that I actually did their wedding as well, so they might be a bit biased when they're talking about me. But and what a wedding it was, guys.
It was. We loved it.
She's gone dead quiet now. Now the cameras are on.
So
perfect.
Go on.
So Howard did your wedding. You got married a couple of weeks ago locally at, can we say Winesdale?
We can say Winesdale.
Yeah,
Okay.
Winesdale Park, brilliant venue in the northwest. And if I may say so, because Winesdale's one of those, especially in our area, it's like a really aspirational, higher end venue. So you guys are an ideal kind of client in the sense of we want to be targeting, upper end weddings. So it.
Yeah, she's from Fleetwood.
Yeah, but she's a
superstar. If you don't know, you won't know. But Julie is like a superstar makeup artist. She flies all over the world. She's done Cannes this year, haven't you? Mm-hmm. And last year. She's pretty. Yeah, she's quite a big deal, But she won't say that herself.
Just to chat to you guys about all the suppliers and the process that you went and why you booked certain people and why you didn't book certain things or people or any regrets you had, things like that. It's great to get a bride and groom insights, but like I say, because you've kind of had a nice wedding, you did it. If I saw your wedding on paper, Wiresdale, Howard's on it, like that would be the kind of wedding I would want to aim for, because there's different markets for every type of supplier, but I think most of us are trying to get into that nice, good, higher end market. And certainly in our area, Wiresdale and your wedding on paper fit that bill.
Fit the bill, definitely,
so
yeah.
You're a great couple to talk to. But my first question is, why didn't I get an inquiry? What's going on?
Did
he not?
Fairness,
did he tell you to?
No, listen.
I'm only joking.
The only thing, this is our second
I wanted to get
wedding. This is our second marriage. Not to each other, obviously.
Yeah.
And I did have a wedding video for my first wedding, and it was something that got passed around on a VHS tape around my entire family, and I don't even know where it is now. But the world has changed massively. We do have social media now and stuff. So in hindsight, I do wish I'd had you, because I think you'd have been everywhere. You'd have filmed things that I didn't get to see, I wasn't privy to. So in hindsight, you are my biggest regret.
Oh, there's the first regret then,
what
isn't
a soundbite to put on Instagram.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was joking and I was fishing, but that is a really good piece of advice, piece of conversation, because people do regret, especially video. I think it's the memories from the day.
Big video up all day. But
well, let's go back to the start then.
But I am going to say this, because for me it was my biggest regret for my wedding, going back 20 years, not having a video, because I think what's more important than having a proper little keepsake, something you can watch in 20 years and show your kids, and people might not be around in all them years later, and you get to relive the whole day again. So for me it's really important. But I always say with video, if it isn't a priority and it's last minute, anything's better than nothing. And we know you ended up with a content creator in the end, didn't you? Which is a decent-ish alternative to full-on professional videographer, because at least you get something,
It's going to be huge over the next couple of years, I think.
And there's some great ones out there.
There's some really good ones now. It's creeping in, and it is a brilliant alternative to photo and video. for budget reasons, but also just people that want a bit of everything. And it's a different type of video. They get like much more like real moments, short videos, stuff on the phone, behind the scenes, kind of not polished.
Yeah,
it's the quickness of it as well, isn't it?
And you get them immediately, and you get the realness, and you get the sounds from the people speaking and things like that. I kind of see the value in it. I do.
Yeah,
So,
it was something that, like you say, something was better than nothing. And the lad that we got had never done it before. He just likes doing Instagram reels, and we thought, like you say,
and that was enough for what you wanted. Yeah,
we thought.
Good.
But
I think with choice, well, I didn't care about the return. It was the speed that we got it back that mattered to us.
So that was a priority.
We wanted
for you,
to relive our wedding on a honeymoon. That was more important to us than cost.
That's interesting.
That
and I think that's
really
the value of a content creator, because the immediacy. I said this when Chloe got married. My sister got married last summer, and the morning after at breakfast, the videographer sent us one clip, and it was we'd done like a champagne spray, and there was a load of us involved, and we were just. And he sent us this one clip, and it was that in slow-mo, and we watched it over and over and over, because it was the morning after, and we were like, it was so good last night, and we kept watching it, and then we didn't see anything again then. I edited their film, but it was weeks and weeks and weeks before then they got any more. So it was just having...
That's the value there, right there,
They were so desperate to see as soon as possible, because it's while it's fresh, like you say.
I did a wedding years ago, and we had a filmmaker, and the couple had split up before they got the movie.
Well, and to be truthful, if we'd spoke to you and you said to us, day one you'll get a return, day two you'll get a return, day three, if you gave us it quicker, then we would think that hiring someone would be more
it wasn't even about the money, was it? It wasn't about wasting money or feeling like we'd wasted money or anything. It was just like, what's the fastest... I'm
learning there, because it's not.
I think this is where videography
as a videographer,
important.
sometimes
we're
creative, and I get hung up on the artistry of it sometimes. I know a lot of people will, but to learn, it's just good reinforcement that couples don't always prioritise that. Like you guys, you just wanted the real moments. You wanted them as soon as you could. You wanted to be able to live as much back as possible. It's good info.
Yeah, and if you came as a package with a content creator as well. And we will have X amount of videos back with you within 48 hours, then we'd have been all over
and then you might wait a couple of months to get your professional...
We need the quick fix.
You get
We
both.
need the quick fix.
Yeah.
You want to relive it.
I think that's a really good thing for filmmakers to maybe consider that, isn't it? Maybe offering content creators...
And we're going to see photographers and videographers offering this. All in now.
I mean,
you could offer it. You could have... I've got someone to come along with
Anybody,
me.
any one of you, any professional could come with a content creator. They could come with a content creator if they can get somebody to make short video.
Ours just followed the photographer around anyway, and just whatever shots they were doing, he was just copying them. To be truthful, they used all their quality.
Well, a lot of videographers do that anyway, because they hang in the background, they take those moments, don't they?
So Richard,
you're just hanging over the shoulder.
There's no creative.
Now there's two
artistry.
of you. There's a content creator, and then you've got the videographer.
There's no skill in what I do. I just follow the person that knows what they're doing on their shoulder.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here.
I'm sure there's plenty of photographers I've worked with that could testify to that.
The thing is, what goes up must come down, and the day was so great, and the next day we want to relive that day. We don't want to wait 6 weeks before we relive it. And we've got people instantly that nowadays in WhatsApp, they're sharing photos.
Well, your guests
and
will have been.
pictures.
You'll have been looking for all your guests' Instagram stories the next day and stuff.
Well, this is what
send us all the videos you got. We want to see them.
Well, so as you know, Richard and I both run our own businesses, and we realise the importance of like immediacy, and going back to the photographers. They did a wonderful job. The content creator just followed them around. They were wonderful with him because they knew that he was a young lad. He'd never done it before. So they said, you come with us and you just film whatever you want. We know this place inside out. So we use Scott and Lee's. They know Wyresdale, every nook and cranny of Wyresdale. And so our content creator just followed them around. Then I got an email thanking me thanking us from the photographers, saying your photographs will be ready in 10 to 12 weeks. And I actually went to get my glasses because I thought that said 10 to 12 weeks, and it did. I don't wait 10 to 12 weeks for nothing, for anything. So that was, I get, like you, it's the artistry.
This is the email I send out.
Yeah, it's the editing, it's all of that. They want it all to be absolutely perfect. And they've got other weddings to do, and if they're anything like Howard, relentless weddings, one after the other. But, so what we did, so that we had immediacy, we've created our own website that is now having a QR code on, that I'm sending out to all of our guests, so that they don't have to wait 10 to 12 weeks to see any pictures. Every photograph that's been sent to me will be on there.
You can go and look at it.
So that's what I've done to try and keep, because everybody keeps asking me for pictures and I have nothing to send them.
So this really reminds me of something that Andy Murphy said on our podcast last year, and it's so true. So if I go and do a wedding and I walk around with my camera and I take those little bits of footage and I put a little video together, I put that on the next day, the day after the wedding, I get thousands and thousands of views. If I leave it 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, and I've just done this recently, nowhere near as much engagement, because people are onto stuff straight away. They want to relive it instantly.
So the shine, I mean, not for you guys, but for your guests, maybe the shine kind of wears off in the weeks that follow. You just get back to your normal life.
Because everybody's buzzing, aren't they, about the day, don't you? And they want to relive it again.
But in the few days after, you want to retain that feeling and that bubble.
Absolutely, and like yours was a really, like you say, like thousands of views. You've got all Richard's friends and family in Australia viewing it. You've got everybody was watching that video because it was the only footage out there.
Was mine the first to market?
Yes, it was the first to market.
Was it? Yeah. Was it the day? It must have been the day. Was it the day after then?
We didn't take any videos.
I saw your reel. I saw the reel from your wedding. Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
But 3 months from now, we'd forego perfection for speed. And in 3 months, if you did our wedding and you give us a video, we'd go, that's nice. But we wouldn't be able to show it anyone. They'd be bored by then. Do you want to come and see this video? They've just done. Go, we've seen all the others. So I think speed is the key to most of this. It is for us anyway.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
I suppose there's an argument for both as well, isn't there? But that is the general consensus.
I think the battle I'm in at the minute. Yeah, but anyway, so we can't just talk about video the whole time.
No, so
suppliers.
I want to know.
So you had photographers as well. So
yeah.
You had photographers, and I'm presuming you had entertainment.
Yes.
Did you have any other entertainment other than Howard?
So
of course they did.
So Richard had never seen a Howard Wing wedding. Richard's never been to a wedding that has entertainment in the daytime.
Mm-hmm.
So this...
You weren't missing much.
So this was, a lot of it was sort of my ideas that Richard helped bring to life. So I'm quite anal like this. I divided the day up into chunks and I decided what can I do to entertain in all of those chunks. So... what can I do to make the morning where the bridesmaids are getting ready fun and relaxed and whatever?
Yeah.
And then what can I do at the ceremony to make it fun? And that was the music, that was the flowers, that was the...
Well, your mate singing and playing trumpet and stuff like that,
Yeah.
It breaks it up, makes it different.
Bridesmaids were up dancing at the ceremony, best man was playing the trumpet... it was just really relaxed and really good fun. And then the
drinks
reception, gorgeous food, fantastic Gypsies of Bohemia jazz trio were playing in the daytime. Then we had Darren Magic doing magic tricks, who blew everybody away. Yeah. That is such a good, he's gone down a treat. Llamas. We had alpacas, alpaca groomsmen in the Dicky Bows from Singleton Alpacas. They were a really lovely surprise for everybody. They could have walked down the aisle.
Were the alpacas that were dressed up?
Real alpacas that had little bow ties on.
Okay.
So that was really good fun. Everybody was allowed to go and have a picture taken with them. And the only thing they were terrified of was my wedding bouquet. They didn't like fresh flowers near them. So there was lots of fun at the drinks reception, which for me is where people should spend the time, because I think they're quite often quite boring and people are quite hungry.
You don't want, and we know from experience, you don't want people sitting down and people just disappearing off to the room.
Wondering what's happening next.
I mean, visually for me, I want everyone up having a great time because it's going to make my job easier. I can deliver really amazing footage of people smiling and laughing
Yeah.
and interacting rather than them just sat down.
Yeah.
So the more you put into that, like you say, the drink reception is a really good time to invest in.
Yeah, I think so, because I've been to some really boring ones. So yeah, I would suggest to any bride and groom to have as much going on there as possible. Another thing that we'd done, which was quite different, was we had our wedding photographs taken before we got married. So we have been married before. We're not traditional in the sense that I wanted my dad to watch me walking down the stairs or anything. My dad's had that privilege before. So it was Richard standing at the bottom of the stairs waiting for me, and we went off at 10 o'clock in the morning, hair, makeup done, in my dress, and had our photographs taken. So we got to spend all of our drinks reception with our friends.
So I never
and
told you
family.
about this. This was the first time I've ever come across it, and what a really good idea if you don't mind that, because then, on my wedding, the photographer took us away the whole drink reception, taking stage photographs. We felt like we missed our drinks reception.
Yeah, and that's what we
But
didn't
you got
want
them
to.
out the way early in the morning,
Yeah.
and you could then relax and enjoy your drinks reception with all your guests and the entertainment that you provided.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse sometimes you put an entertainment on for your guests. You don't really get to see it much yourself. You spent a fortune on stuff, and you're down the bottom of a garden taking pictures.
Yeah.
So that was a
I'm seeing
decent
more and
move
more
for
of this because people are learning, especially with Instagram now and TikTok and all the kind of inspo reels that you see of like, when you do your wedding, do this, and there's much more information out there about just breaking the rules and
Yeah.
doing whatever you want, and you
Yeah.
can move like there's elements to a wedding that make sense, but you can put that what would normally be in the drink reception, move it to the morning, and then it frees up that. And I think more and more people are doing that. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. It was definitely good.
And especially like you say, if I'm getting married next year, we're doing a first look, which is
Okay.
so I'm going to see Jade before the ceremony in a dress, and like you did.
Yeah.
And it's I suppose once you've seen each other, then what's stopping you doing your photos?
Yeah, and the photographers were really up for it, weren't they? They were dead on board with it. They thought it was a brilliant idea. They said they wish more people would do it.
But this, from a supplier point of view, hearing this, I'd be all over it because it's great, because it's unique, and it is something that is different.
Yeah.
To post. From a supplier point of view, we could put that on social media and get it's good traction and like inspo kind of reels, because it is something different and it's away from the norm.
Yeah.
And you just got your group shots to focus on during the drinks, and haven't you, for the people that are there?
And it makes it like you guys can enjoy it, but then like from a supplier point of view, like the drink reception's easier for the photographer, videographer.
Yeah.
It's all in the bag done.
Yeah.
And they can get better moments.
And that we just gave them a list, which is very normal, isn't it, of like who we wanted pictures taken with. They were done really quickly because we didn't actually move because it was pouring down. So there was we'd done all the walking around in the morning.
Yeah.
So we just had a photograph taken in the confetti corridor at Wyesdale.
Yeah.
And our guests came to us. So Richard's dad was on one of the photographs, and then my mum and dad was on it, but we didn't move.
Yeah.
So it was just bringing people to us, which was really fast. And then I'd asked Scott and Lee's if they would also mind us doing something that was a bit of an Instagram reel that I'd seen. And it was Richard and I sat in the corridor, and our guests coming out and having their photograph taken with us. So silly pictures. Everybody ran in and then ran.
So
and
when
then
I called the guests
photo
to dinner,
dash thing.
I said to everybody, right, we're going to go for dinner, but on the way through, go and grab a quick photograph with Jill and Richard. I thought that would make it speed up a little bit, and it worked really well. So you have the photograph of you, came through and took the seats for dinner.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it before, where this TikTok trend where they've got to go around every table and get a picture with the bride. That sort of thing. Well, that was a decent way to do it, I thought.
Yeah. It filtered people going in to find their seats, didn't it, as well? People just came up behind us, did a daft picture, and in they went.
Sounds to me like your priority there then is just to have something entertaining, something to keep the guests busy and enjoying it and keeping the flow.
Yeah.
Keep the atmosphere.
I'd say
alive as
that's kind of just typical of most brides and grooms, because you put so much effort into your wedding day for your guests, and I'm certainly finding this. We're constantly thinking with ours, like, have we got enough entertainment? Is everyone going to be like looked after? And it's you're kind of planning it for everyone but yourself a lot of the time, aren't you?
A few people said that to us, like the minute that you decide to get married and have a proper big wedding, you're doing it for everybody else, but actually we did everything that we would have loved. We created the wedding that we would love to go to.
Yeah, and you're going to enjoy it, but you just want to make sure that it's good for everyone else and they're all enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and like Howard blew everybody's minds because a lot of the guests there had never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Your friends from Coventry, your friends from Australia, or our friends from Australia.
Good wedding from your point of view?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. They were blown away, but there were enough people in that room that know us and know you to know what to do, and they brought the vibe, they brought the energy. So that was amazing. Another thing that I really, really liked, and it was only because we overran, we ended up with a 15-minute window in between Howard's gig and the night do, which was what I wanted originally, because Wyresdale doesn't have hotel rooms. I was worried that a few people would go back to the yurts, a few people would go back to the houses, some might nip back to Scorton, and then we'd end up with a few people asleep and missing the night. And anyway, we ended up with a really quick turnaround because we overran.
That worked really well.
Speeches.
Remember when Julie spoke to me originally? Original plan was we're going to finish the dinner.
Go straight.
You're going to do your last song and you're going to lead a procession onto the dance floor for the first dance. That was the original idea. Because she had it in her mind, she didn't want anybody sitting around for an hour and a half in between. And as it happened, it worked well. There was just that small window.
Yeah.
And before they knew it,
because it's good. I mean, it takes 10, unless you're doing a piper thing as part of it, then it does take 10 minutes for everyone to just filter through, go toilet and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Wyresdale set up like that because they've got it's a separate room.
It's a separate room, and you can go straight
they were
into
already
it.
set.
I'm with you. I like that because you don't want that flow to disappear. You're on a high after Howard and after the dinner, and then everyone just relaxes and has an hour to chill. And then it's trying to get them back up again.
last year, and nobody went back to the night do, and it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I've
all
known
the
that before,
aunties and a lot of people disappeared after, and they were like, "Oh, we'll all meet back up, get an hour to freshen up," and I didn't want that, people disappearing and then not coming back. Talking of freshening up, straight from the Howard's gig in the afternoon, straight through to the night do, I had a freshen up crew. So I hired a makeup artist and a hairdresser to zhuzh up.
Were they your own staff, by the way?
They weren't my staff.
Right,
they weren't going to be my staff, but my staff were at the wedding.
So you hired hair and makeup for the day?
He hired hair and makeup so that people didn't, because they didn't have anywhere to go back to get freshened up because they weren't staying there. Yeah. So they could. We had hair and makeup on site. Yeah. And then we had the Gypsies of Bohemia.
But they had stick-on tattoos, so you could go and get
yes, the tattoos went down a storm. So much so that some of the guests have had their fake tattoos tattooed over.
Oh, have they really?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
wow.
you know what? It's funny you say that because I've noticed that there's celebrities doing it as well. Tattooists at the wedding doing tattoos there and then.
I tried.
Which is really cool, and I love it in theory. But obviously, that is a big. It's a big permanent
it's
thing.
It's a massive decision,
and it's a decision that, when you've had a few drinks, might seem like a really good.
Takes you back to Magaluf.
It's a brave thing to do. So I suppose the stick on is the ideal.
It is, and it's a good job because some of my very sensible cousins and one of Richard's sons went home with like prison tattoos on the faces. So in reality, that could have been a disaster. So I did try and get a real tattooist, which she was completely up for it. The problem was licensing. You can't get a license for a temporary tattoo license that's not an approved premises. So
that's interesting.
That's
I thought that was becoming a thing. I think Vicky Patterson, the reality celebrity, she had a tattoo artist at hers. I'm sure she just got married last week. It was in Italy somewhere, so I don't know if it's different over there. Maybe.
Some people probably don't care about rules, but I don't want the wedding venue to be shut down or the tattooist.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It really was a fun day from start to finish, and for me, I'm biased, but entertainment makes a wedding. Brilliant magician, sax player, llamas, me, other singers, great band, all of these little things add up to a full, fun,
Would you say that was your priority in terms of like when you approach your planning? Like, what do we want to throw most of our budget at, or what do we want to put our focus on? Was it entertainment, or was it aesthetics, or was it photos?
I think for us, we wanted to make it feel like it was a party all day.
Yeah.
And when you hire photographers and videographers, their job, I suppose, is to try and capture certain moments throughout the day, but they make it very regimental because they know they have to stop the fun to capture that. So we didn't want that, hence why we had our photos done prior, because otherwise we would have wasted an hour and a half of them going out getting what they believe was value for money by trying to deliver 55 pictures of looking fantastic. But we didn't really want that, we just wanted fun. So I think you got that conflict between the suppliers trying to make our day fun
and trying to give you what you've paid for.
Really, we just want it to flow, and we thought the day flowed really well. Every single person that came on, it just sort of blended in. You didn't know when it started, you didn't know when it ended, and that went right up until about midnight. It was still going strong.
Entertainment does that, certainly. I see it during the dinner. I get so many people say, it's been really good having you during the dinner time because we weren't wondering when our dessert was coming because everybody was entertained. And it does keep that flow going. There's anything there to stop and break it. People are like, oh, dessert's not here yet. It's a bit of a distraction, isn't it?
But I would argue, just to be devil's advocate, that a good videographer, photographer would hear all those concerns and go, well, I won't dictate anything. I won't take your time. I won't do group shots. I don't have to do it like that. I can just capture it naturally.
I think that flexibility, maybe just asking them asking, like professionals asking the right questions, like what's important to you? Do you want it to be very relaxed? And suppliers being more flexible.
What you're saying would be music to my ears, because I would just be like, great, I'll just capture, and the more entertainment for me, the better, because the better the content, does it make it easier for me to film, because I can get loads of great stuff without having to try and bring people out, so I'm more than happy to sit back all day, not direct a single thing, and just let it all unfold.
But I think most people presume once you get married you have to go and do certain photo shots or certain videos.
I mean, that is still the case a lot of the time, but
it's
not necessarily.
An hour and a half of stand there. Even between 10 and 11 we had our photos done. The boring bits we got out of the way. We go stand under that tree, smile now, keep walking, smile now. That's not.
And they made it fun. They did make it as fun as they could, and it was fast, and that's what we wanted. I felt like I was missing out on my bridesmaids bit, because I was having my pictures taken. But they made it fun. They were dead good. They were really professional, and they did it with speed and efficiency, which I really liked.
So that's key, isn't it? Getting professional people in to come and run your wedding. People that you've got the confidence in, they know they're going to do what you want them to do, and they did it perfectly, didn't they?
And they were dead flexible, like I say. They
Apart
were
from
brilliant.
the 12-week turnaround.
But
that's just average. That is just normal. That it
I
really
know,
is.
I know.
For me, it's
the world is expecting faster, but I get that.
It's the communication there, like you say. As a supplier, I need to make sure that I'm really asking the right questions and getting to know exactly what the couple want from the day, so that I can then fit into that, rather than saying, well, I need this is what I do, you're going to have to...
I mean, I was planning on having a fashion photographer there at one point, a very, very good fashion photographer that I worked with loads of times, and who I've worked with at Cannes Film Festival, and she does like a journalistic style of photography, and I thought, do I want her in the daytime taking the behind the scenes shots, so it's not formal, but as it turns out, we ended up booking it on a Thursday, and we ended up with a package, and we could choose from 2 photographers, and that's how we ended up with Scott and Lee's, who I didn't know prior.
Okay, so you got the photographer came as part of the venue package, is that right?
You could choose from 2.
So you got a couple of, so they had like suggested ones, and you go with them. Interesting.
That's an obvious question to follow on, then, isn't it?
Well,
so when you said this was 2 different photography companies you could choose from that they recommended, you could still bring your own in, obviously. But they recommended to you decided to go with one of them. And I want to know this, because I often think about this question: why would somebody book? Say they've not seen me at a wedding, and they're comparing me to some other singers who do a similar-ish thing. There's no one does similar, but you know what I mean. Why would they book me over them, or why would they book them over me? So it's what made you make that decision to book that photographer over that one. Why did you end up going with them?
You had to. Did you look at what was the approach to how you researched them, I guess? Did you go on the website?
I didn't. I went with my
social
gut.
media.
So my job is an aesthetic job. So I just go with my gut. I either like something visually or I don't.
Yeah.
Or I like, it's not that I didn't like one of them and I did like the other. I just preferred one and I liked. I just you left it up to me, didn't you?
You checked their work out.
Yeah, I looked at 2 sets of work and just thought that's more my
different style.
Okay.
And that was it. It was Scott and Lee's. I don't know, a couple of images. I just thought they're both beautiful. They're both very professional. You can tell that they're both professional people. and they both do a gorgeous job. But I don't know, a couple of images must have just stood out.
Stood
I
out,
thought,
and you
they're
thought,
for me.
go for them.
I really didn't overthink it. I just presumed that Wyresdale would only recommend very skilled people.
Yeah.
So I sort of trusted Wyresdale, really.
So you put a lot of faith in the venue to make
Absolutely.
those decisions. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and this is where, like, we talk about recommendation all the time. That's the strongest type of inquiry you can get, isn't it? Because if, as I, a lot of my work comes from either the photographer recommending me, because people book a photographer and then they go, oh, we need video now, and then they ask the photographer.
Yeah.
And then venues, because venues is obviously the first thing you book, and the venue will say, we like these people, and they'll suggest. So
Yeah.
I guess it reinforces what I thought, that most couples will just trust what they're being told by their...
Yeah. So we wanted simplicity as well, didn't we? So we went to Wyresdale, and we were...
Did you ever do like open days or wedding fairs there or anything like that?
No, we didn't. We went... No, not really. We went to one wedding fair, I think. That was it. Basically, what happened 2 years ago, Richard did a mood board. We did like a dream life board between us of like all the things we want our life to look like. And on there was all sorts of various things, and one of them was a wedding venue. And Richard just found... We live in Australia half the year. Richard's never been to Wyresdale in his life, but he found this wedding venue and he just put it on, and I turned the whole thing into a screensaver. So for 2 years, we've been looking at these pictures on Richard's screensaver.
Yeah.
And on there was a particular car and a particular house and a particular wedding venue and all of these things. And I was like, that is our vision board. Anyway, I went one day for afternoon tea at Wyresdale with my aunties and my mum, and I said to my mum, I think you can get married here. I said, shall we go and see if somebody will show us around where you get married? And we walked in the White Barn, and it was the screensaver of Richard's computer.
Way.
And I phoned him and
Completely
I was like,
unrelated.
you are not going to believe where I am right now. I'm stood in the wedding venue.
I'm stood in the mood board.
And you found this place online and just in the room.
It was
A
the
picture
wedding
of the
I
room.
wanted was, I wanted it quite casual. I didn't want it too formal. Didn't want it corporate. So that was the ideal. I saw a wedding there and I thought, that's
Yeah, I mean, it's a
what
beautiful
want.
room.
Yeah, you must have
The
just
wedding
Googled
breakfast.
like beautiful wedding venues, and that came up, and I was stood in it.
That's
But on the
crazy.
phone, I said,
Yeah.
you need to come down. So then the weekend after, Richard came down with me and he's like, this is a no-brainer, we're just having it. And then they were so efficient, they were so professional, and we were like, we don't care what day we get married on. And they said, well, we do this package. If you get married on a Thursday, we do this, or I think it was any day other than Friday and Saturday.
Get a bit of a deal and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you can have a deal.
But the
and
deal
like-
wasn't the deal breaker. It was the fact is they found everyone for us.
Yeah, that was the
That was
deal
us.
breaker. It wasn't the money.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, if you get married on a Thursday, we'll supply the food guy, we'll supply this guy, we'll supply this guy, and we'll go, well, we don't have to think about it. So that was the choice. It wasn't the money, it was the fact that we don't have to research.
And did you get choices
Yeah.
within that? Like the photographers?
Yeah,
There's
two
options. Yeah.
So we've got options, except for the caterers. We had to almost go with the caterers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could
fairly
opt
standard,
out
isn't
of the
it?
caterers, but they were the caterers that we wanted anyway. That was the
Yeah.
only thing that my daughter had said, please have the striped kitchen, and we did. And they came as part of the Wyresdale package. But there was a choice of 2 photographers, and then they also suggested the florist, which is located at Wyresdale, and she knows that venue inside out.
So how did you find, and why did you come to book your other suppliers on the day? People like Darren Robinson and the band you had in the evening and things like that. How did you find them? Were they recommended? Did you do your own research? And did you choose them over other options of the same thing as well? And what made the difference in choosing those over some others that you perhaps wouldn't do?
So Gypsies of Bohemia I had seen at your wife's 40th birthday, and
You'd seen it before, so that
Yeah.
I think that's important for bands and stuff to be out there working, getting them eyes on you, so people know they can imagine you being at their wedding.
yeah.
So I think that's really important for musical artists, certainly bands. I know Gav does that with the Rush a lot. He's in Albert Schloss, isn't he? And he's all over that, and they get a lot of their wedding work from going out and doing those events.
gigs. Yeah.
Okay.
So and you've just proved that. You've seen that at Sam's 40th, and you thought
they were
I
really
want
good
those.
fun. They played like this very sophisticated
So did you communicate?
gypsy jazz,
when
but
you got in touch with them.
The Prodigy and Britney Spears.
Yeah.
They're playing like
Yeah,
popular
yeah.
music,
Cool.
but mental. Yeah, it was fabulous.
Remember
Loved
the
that.
gypsies, though? Is it there?
Yeah, I remember the.
Sorry,
part,
go on.
yeah.
Your question.
I was going to say because obviously, so you've seen them already, so you get in touch with them.
Yeah, Darren Robinson. I'd seen him previously. Can't remember whose wedding, but his name stuck in my brain, and so I found him on Instagram, and so yeah.
Well, sometimes you can get a recommendation, and sometimes if you meet them or speak to them, then you might be thinking, oh, actually, no, it was a recommendation, but I'm not quite sure.
Well, what I was going to ask is,
yeah.
So you've seen them before, so you've gone. Well, I remember them being good. Got in touch with them.
Yeah.
Did you then speak to them over email? Did you meet them? Did you?
Instagram. Just asked him his prices and was his availability. That was really slick transaction with Darren. He was really brilliant.
Yeah.
Was he quick to reply to you? Did that made a difference, or was it
massively? Yeah, he was really good. There were a few companies that I messaged. One about some sort of cocktail. I don't know if it was cocktails. I think it might have been like a little selfie thing. Don't want to say too much in case anybody knows what I mean. But it was something that came to the venue, and you could have pictures taken in it.
Yeah.
Actually, from a health and safety perspective, because I own a business, I thought it was probably a really bad idea because there's going to be drunk people trying to get in and out of this thing.
Yeah.
And they took forever to get back to me, and in the end, I was bored. I'd moved on. So speed in replying to your inquiries is massive.
I don't know about you. I'm quite guilty. I like to try and reply within like 48 hours, and I thought that was reasonable and fair, but I've spoken to couples since that are like, want a reply within the hour sort of thing. And
I don't even mind if it's a generic reply. I don't care if it's an automated message that comes out, just the acknowledgement that you've
when I've started
message.
wedding planning, when we started ours last year, suddenly I was on the other side of it. And you email someone and you're waiting to hear back and you're waiting to hear back. And the way me and Jay were doing our early planning, we'd sit down on a Sunday night and go, right, tonight we'll wedding plan. So I was emailing people. And then by the end of the night, if I'd still not heard from them, it's fair enough, I get it. But then I hear from them the next day and it's like, well, we're not wedding planning now.
We're not in the
zone
wedding
anymore.
planning
So
zone.
You've lost it.
I was guilty of the same thing. I'm much better now.
And it's interesting when you see it from that other side.
People.
I think the world has just become fast. We want instant, we want food.
There's the takeaway, guys. Just reply as quick as you can.
And you can't, with the best of intentions, you can't always reply within the hour to everything. But I think James Jebson, when he came on, he said he has a morning session where he does his emails for half an hour in the morning, does his emails and his DMs for half an hour in the afternoon, and just like you've got to do it a couple times a day at least.
Absolutely.
Because that would have made a difference to you.
Even a 10-second voicemail of acknowledgement.
Would you have minded that as if it was an obviously automated message? Would that have made a difference?
Would it have been a deal breaker if you like the work the same, you like the people, you got on with them, and that one took ages to get back, and they did? Was that a deal breaker? They were a bit more attentive to you. Do you think?
If it was somebody that I really wanted, I'd wait for a response, but it'd leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth.
You've been a bit like was it a photo booth type thing where they just didn't get back to you and you just went forget it.
And then somebody else what do you call them, like somebody that comes and says lovely words at your wedding.
A celebrant.
So I had a celebrant also the same, took forever to get back, and I thought, I've moved on since then, which sounds really flippant of me, but that is the world we live in now. I'm having llamas now. I'm
on to my llamas now.
I think we've all got to come to terms with it. It's the sign of the digital age, isn't it? Everyone wants replies and immediacy. Same with your photos, same with your replies. And
so even like Darren, everything he did, the magician, his response was very fast. Then created a booking, created an invoice, that whole
professional
automated
process
thing that we use in our businesses. So we know the flow, but we like it. It shows professionalism and so he was really good to deal with.
He's great at entertaining.
Well, the thing is, it's like we talk about film and photographers. There's so many people who do a similar amount of work and do a similar quality and standard of work.
Yeah,
it's the other things that can make the difference sometimes. How professional you are, how attentive you are, how quick you got your invoice, which obviously you really like. Things like that can make a difference with getting the booking. Even though the work's similar, those things have made the difference for you. And I think that's another takeaway for our viewers. Yeah.
Easy payment options. So that for me was really important because life gets in the way, and I don't want to owe anybody any money. I need to pay things straight away. So like very quick payment for me, then it's out of my brain. I don't have to worry that I've not paid somebody.
You would know you're organising a wedding at the moment, so you're going onto our side of the field, let's say.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we found, and it was nice to hear when we mentioned, we can bring it now, Howard's not here. When we spoke to the
Slag him off now, he's gone.
the wedding coordinator, and she said, "Oh, who's doing that?" Howard Wing. "Oh, great, he knows what to do." And then we spoke to the food people and they said, "Who's doing that? Who's going to organise that?" We said, "Howard Wing." "Oh, great, he knows what to do." So it was really great that they knew him and sort of had confidence in the fact that he knew what to do, which gave us confidence knowing he knows what to do. But apart from that, with it being our special day, we're just guessing. So we're guessing the photographers and we're guessing the florist and we're guessing. It'd be really nice to have somewhere or someone that has an idea of go here, go here, go here, go here. Because where do you find these people? You say go to these wedding venues, but it doesn't mean they're any good because they're a wedding venue.
Well, the thing with the venues is that obviously Wyersdale have suggested suppliers to you and you trust in that, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are the best. It just means that
they are the recommended.
They're recommended, whether they're paying them a commission or that, and that's something for couples to be wary of. Is a venue could be recommending them because they're paying them a percentage of it. Doesn't necessarily mean they're the best.
No.
Or the right fit for you guys.
Yeah.
So I guess the only thing, and this is what we've tried to do with ours, is just really like research and chat to people, and like actually like if we like 2 or 3 photographers, we've met them all and made sure that we're vibing and everything.
So I always say to couples, if you want to choose a photographer or even a video, get the work of the people that you like. Have a look at the work. I like them. I can see them on our wedding. They're the sort of shots we want. There's 3 of them. Meet them and book the one you get on with the most. Yeah. That's what I always say.
There's an element of guesswork, isn't there? You just say, well, your work looks good, and the package and the price, everything that fits. So we'll just book you and hope that it all works out on the day. And the only way you can alleviate that is to communicate with them. And this is why I like to meet my couples or a Zoom or something, just so that we can chat. And like what you're saying before, I can learn a bit more about them and what they want, and I can build up a picture, and then they can get to know how I'm seeing their wedding, and then if it clicks and it works, and I think then you get an idea of that's the person for us.
And how you know they're going to be with your guests on the day as well.
Yeah.
Because I've seen some photographers that are brilliant. The work's fantastic, but there can be knobheads on the day.
Yeah.
They can be dead bossy. They can annoy your guests. So if you talk to them, you get a feel of what somebody's like. I get on with them. My guest's going to get on with them. Let's go with that one.
I think it's about going a layer deeper as well with your questioning. So, like, what is it you like about these photographs? Is it the colour? Is it the graininess? Is it the formality? Or what is it you like about that wedding video that you've seen that I've done? Just getting that, it feels a bit more personal. And for suppliers as well to take on board like suggestions. There's so much out all the time now on Pinterest, and we've got so much at our fingertips for ideas that sometimes people are going to come to you and go, you might not have seen this before, but what do you think about that? And you being flexible to you threw in a little McFly number for me. It wasn't part of your set, but it's one of my floor fillers. I love it, and and you were flexible in that. And
okay, so
I'm never normally flexible. I was on this way. I'm only joking. I'm always flexible.
It's not being precious about what it is you're offering, and because if someone likes you and they're willing to give you the money, but then they might want this as well. Just flexibility. Like you say. It's going on a deeper level and really getting to know them, and I think that's where you guys get the confidence that you've booked the right person. And we get the confidence that we are the right person for you.
Yeah,
because we had a silent disco and it went off. It was the best thing of the day. And we got told, don't have one. And we went, and then I was doubting the person saying it, and Julie went, I'm sticking with it, and everyone loved it.
Can't just be me doubting it. It can't just be me doubting it.
In fairness, nobody knew we were having it until I sent out an itinerary of the day. So we did have the big Gypsies of Bohemia band. We had guests from
all over the world,
and we'd not really had a chance to speak to them. So what we didn't want to do is have a DJ until 1:00 in the morning, everybody leave, and we've not spoken to anybody. So our dream was to have a very chilled out, like still dance with the Gypsies of Bohemia and have fun, but by about 10 o'clock start winding down. So we had a chance to speak to our guests, and we had a cigar bar planned, but it was pouring down, and we had fire pit planned, but it was pouring down. And so we decided to have this silent disco, which I absolutely love. And I am at an age now where I really don't like going on nights out because I lose my voice, because I'm trying to shout over the band,
the
or I'm
loud
trying
DJ
to shout
music,
over music. You've got people drunk and shouting in your ear, and it hurts, and you can't hear yourself think, and I just don't want that kind of night out anymore, and neither do you, and neither do any of our friends who are mostly over 50, most of them. So we decided to take a chance.
Apart from me.
Apart from the young
Not yet.
ones.
Next year. Next year.
You'll love it next year.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be all over the silent disco next year.
Yeah. So we decided we would obviously have, like the Gypsies of Bohemia, have a great big party. They performed, they were wonderful. They probably really enjoyed the fact that they got an early night as well. And then we went into the silent disco, and all my aunties and my mum and everybody that would normally have left by that point because it was too noisy
Stayed around and chatted and stuff.
People had cups of tea if they wanted. Some people carried on drinking. The silent disco was absolutely hilariously funny. The footage of it is just
It's when
off
you've
the scale
not got the music
funny.
on and you just hear a load of people shouting along to their own.
It was very special. It
The
was
bar people probably
hilarious.
thought it was a bit
Yeah.
strange.
It was. But we're so glad we appreciated what Howard said, and like a couple of other people had gone, is that going to work? We were like, we don't know, but I love silent discos. I just think they're so funny. So, and
I think the only thing with me, what I was thinking, because I know the venue, I know there are other areas where you can still have a chat if there's music going, because it's quite separate.
Yeah.
And then I suppose
but then
whoever
you're
you
separating people, aren't you?
You can't. Well, no, because have you been to Isdale?
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got the area there where you're dancing, and then you've got this little courtyard next to it. You can still hear the music, but it's not too loud. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so
of
we took speakers. We only took one in the end, didn't we? We took our Alexa and downloaded a playlist onto an old iPhone.
Was there a bit of music in there then?
And we put music in that corridor.
Right.
Just really quiet background music. And like I say, everybody absolutely loved it. My mum, for it to pass my mum test, it was a winner, you know. She's like, I loved it. She said I could hear myself talk. We all chatted, but the ones that wanted to dance.
They could still put the headphones on and stuff and go for it.
Something weird happens to people with a silent disco. I don't think it should be at every wedding, but something weird happens. People forget that other people can hear them singing, and they lose their inhibition. So we had friends
you just
there
get lost in it.
that don't dance.
And
And they danced and sang, and I will show you the footage. You know, these people living their best lives because they thought they were invisible. And it's something weird happens. But yeah, that was the finale.
And I think for your wedding, all right, it worked really, really well.
Yeah, I told you, everybody at our wedding, we knew our audience. They were all mostly over 60.
Yeah.
Well, no, late 50s and upwards was the average age of our guests. They were going to be knackered by 6 o'clock after you've had them doing a 2-hour workout. You know, they're up, they're down, they're congering, they're everywhere. So
not a
I was
conger,
like,
it's a love train.
It's a love train. But yeah, so we knew our audience, and we knew that, like, I've been to weddings before where by 8 o'clock I'm done. I'm exhausted because I've been at a wedding that Howard's done. I'm like, I know the score here. I'm going to be shattered.
You feel you've partied out already, yeah?
Partied out. It's like I tried to tell a few people, it's like the day do's almost becomes your night day because you've done your partying
and it was
before
funny,
you've had dessert.
Just think about Alan Diver said to me on the day after I'd done and when the night do was starting off, he come up to me and said, God, it must be really hard for people to kind of follow you.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's really important for your guests to have some equally or something really good for the night do.
Yeah.
Because it could go a little bit like that. And I said, it's got to be a great DJ, a great band. Make sure they're really good at what they do. So because I think my vibe creates energy among people and it'll carry through into the evening. And then if the evening entertainment's not there, it could always go down. So it's getting everything right at the right point, and you had it bang on.
I just think weddings have changed, and like you and what you do, I would have been more than happy to do the whole afternoon thing and then an evening drinks reception. Like literally, that is, I was done by 6 o'clock. I was having a lovely time, and people have celebrated. It's like nothing they've ever seen. So I was quite happy.
Yeah.
I'd have been happy with no band and no silent disco.
Yeah.
They were cherries on the top, but
I quite like that. I find I do the odd destination wedding, and certainly like places like Italy and Spain, and they have very chilled out evenings. They have good meal.
Yeah,
they have a few drinks and
chat.
there's background music, and they chat. Yeah, and it's that different. You know, British culture is like party, booze, dance, go nuts, shots. Every other place in Europe just have these really classy like evening kind of, and that's seeping in a little bit. So yeah, I think that's cool.
One thing that's just, when you mentioned shots then, something that's really become really apparent to me the last few days is how unaware people are of alcohol. So Richard spent a fortune on wine for the tables, shots, beers. We've spoken to people and they were like, yeah, someone got a round of beers in on our table. And I was like, oh, oh, it was him. And people don't appreciate the amount of money that... Do you know what I mean? They just think it's a given, or they think somebody's just bought them a drink or whatever. Like,
they just pick it up, it's there, and they go,
somebody's bought that bottle of wine and they're just offering you a glass. But actually, that was something that I've been a bit... It's like been a bit stuck in my throat, and I'm like, wow, that bar bill was a lot, and like nobody thought that they just...
it's all included, all these beers that keep coming. Really, it actually has been paid for you.
So expect no thanks for the amount of alcohol you put on, whether you put any on or none on. That's stuck in
It's
my...
important though to keep them guests well watered though. It really is.
Do you have any? Was there any like regrets or gripes or anything without like naming names or?
Is there anything you'd have done differently if you were to do it again?
My dream wedding was to go and book a house in the middle of nowhere and spend 3 days with people. That was my dream.
Yeah.
Or go abroad and do that. And I felt that Wyresdale gave me that.
Yeah.
I met people who travelled to visit us. We stayed the night before, so we met them and we stayed up and we chatted together, which was really good. We took everyone out for a meal, and on the day we woke up, I had breakfast, and I spent time before the wedding. And then, of course, the wedding itself. And then we all woke up for breakfast the next day. Yeah. And I felt like I got what I saw right now.
Yeah.
If the photographer never came back with any photos, I wouldn't care.
I've
lived my moment, and I thought it was the best day ever. Like, everyone I speak to said it was like a party. It was really enjoyable, best wedding I've been to. And it was.
There were that many people that came up afterwards saying it was the best day ever. Yeah. Like literally, this has been the best wedding I've ever been to, and I thought, I love that. I don't know if it's just alcohol that makes people say that.
No, I hear it every week.
Oh, stop it!
and to be truthful,
I do.
To give Howard credit, I think reality was us choosing to have our photos done before, get married and the party started with the trumpet. Let's say we get everyone in that mood, and Howard kept them in that whipped stage. I think it was just a big, relaxed party.
Yeah, it was.
And I wouldn't change it.
No, I wouldn't. Like I say, in hindsight, now it's all over, I would love a video to watch. Even if I only watch it once and then my mum watches it. But I would like that. I'd like a real content creator. But it was a practice, it was a gamble. And like you say, it's probably going to become a big thing. So they will get better and better. But no, it couldn't have been more perfect. You can't change the weather. Wyresdale were really
but
good.
You've got a good venue that if the weather is bad, indoor space is great.
Yeah.
They've got good areas.
Yeah.
You want to kind of...
just felt a bit like, we did manage to get in front of the main house for a photograph, which I loved, because I just wanted people to see that this is what we were also meant to be doing, because there's that absolutely beautiful sort of elegant twist to Wyresdale. my friends thought they were going to a rustic wedding, but then it becomes very refined when you're on the
does,
lawns,
yeah.
and it was a shame because that's what I'd envisaged, but it never came off. But we did manage to get out there. Scott and Lee's
And
were
like you say,
brilliant.
there's nothing you can do about the weather.
No, there isn't. But yeah, apart from that, it was utter perfection. We loved every minute, didn't we?
Oh, I'd do it all again.
Yeah.
I would,
To me?
I would
With
I
me?
would save money and get every guest there for another party next year.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would.
yeah.
I would
Yeah.
say, forget the wedding, let's just party somewhere.
Yeah.
And get everyone there
Recreate
again.
that day again.
I
yeah.
would. It was
Yeah.
the best. So there's nothing. Absolutely zero.
That's great.
Yeah. Regards to planning of your wedding, then, just to go back from it, when say other brides and grooms are watching and wondering when to start the planning, what time frames were you, and what would you recommend booking first, or were you quick with things straight away? Because I always tell couples, if you've got something you specifically really want, whether it be me, whether it be a certain photographer, or I definitely want Adam Wing, not just a video, but I want Adam Wing, you've got to book him well in advance because there's only one of those people. You still end up with a videographer, but probably not the one that you really wanted.
Yeah.
So were you quick straight away to think, right, we've got to tick them off?
Yeah.
Sort of recommendations
ticking off.
for couples who are starting the planning.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
We'd spoken to you previous, and there were certain venues that you wouldn't touch. So we knew that they were all out completely. So once we know that you were more important than the venue. I don't know about my dream venue though. I'm not too sure what you just said when I found my dream board and you said you would perform there. I don't know what would happen then.
Yeah.
No, there's only 2 or 3 venues that spring to mind that I don't work at, and it's just to do with the sound. That's all.
Yeah.
Just
I think-
and sometimes the people that run it. But carry on.
Yeah, I think everything for us snowballed from the venue. We found the venue first, and then your dress came from the venue, my clothes came from the venue, the idea of the music came from the venue. So everything sort of snowballed from that venue.
Yeah, once we had the venue, I had like a very clear vision of what
You booked your venue
to
first. That was
book
your
the
first.
venue
Well, I mean, that's-
first priority.
That's
First
fairly
priority.
typical, right? And
Yeah.
I think we need to be aware of that you're going to decide on a date and find your venue. That's like, of course that's your first
Yeah.
port of call.
Yeah.
we were dead flexible, weren't we? We didn't care when we got married.
You're
and-
unique in the sense that Howard's a friend and you're always going to have Howard, and
Yeah.
you could go to Howard and trust him with
Yeah.
your recommendations and stuff. And,
Yeah.
not every couple's going to have that.
No,
So I think aside from Howard, then of course your venue is going to be.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Wisdale had a package.
Yeah.
And if we saw Howard and Howard said, right, here's 6 people I would always have at my wedding if I got married again, I would love you to give that to me.
Yeah. Well, I do that. I
Because
do
we're
that
lost
for couples,
when
yeah.
you think about it. We don't have a clue.
No.
Yeah,
We Google it like everyone
total
else. and we've got
minefield.
a clue. And I'd love someone to go, because like I said, when Howard was in the bathroom, it was like we went to certain people and they went, "You've got Howard, not a problem. We now know the day's going smooth," and then we can relax a little bit because they know that he can control them things. But some people wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people don't. First time they get married, they're not quite sure who to put the faith and the trust in. They're getting pulled from pillar to post, getting recommendations all over the place.
It's about your communication, and then once you if you get good at what you do and you've got a good rep, then the recommendations kind of work for itself then.
There's some things as well that I am very, very laid back on, and I trust that if you're in the wedding industry and you're charging somebody a fee, a handsome fee, that you're going to know what you're doing. So, like, I'm not that fussy about certain things. I just think he's going to be good. Darren Magic, loved him, but surely any magician that does sleight of hand is going to be good if they're charging for it.
Yeah.
I just like Darren because I'd seen him at a wedding before.
Yeah. But that's interesting that you're attaching the quality to the price, because obviously, like, I would, you get what you pay for, right? And they're charging decent whack, and they're going to be good, and you trust in that.
Yeah, I just think some things I am like.
Psychology behind the numbers. Isn't it?
Always.
Can I say something about price first? So one time I got told, I don't know, like Howard's price, and I was thinking, like, who would pay that? Like, really, who would pay that? And then if I knew what you did, because I don't know what you do, you see, until I lived it, which I did, of course. And I'm now thinking, you're probably worth twice as much as that.
Don't tell him that.
No, seriously, because
I hear this a lot.
prior to seeing it and living it, it's just a fee for a time. In my mind, it's like, you're going to give me 2 hours of your time, theoretically, and you're charging me something, geez, that's expensive. On the day, like, it's like, geez, you're worth twice as much as that.
Yeah.
You're
buying an experience, you're not buying time.
The day was made.
But you only had me going, trust me, you are going to be glad. I did the same with Joanne. Joanne was like, are you sure Howard's good? because she'd never seen you before, and I was like,
oh, had she not? Oh, okay.
no,
right.
Joanne had never been to one of your weddings before, so I was like, you just trust me on this one.
Yeah, when you budget and you put your money aside, you go, okay, I'll pay this and I'll pay this and I'll pay for llamas and we pay for this, and it's sort of like, theoretically, I would have gulped, you know, with what a top quality performer would charge, not realising what they actually make the day to be like.
Yeah.
Although I must say, I did price up Billy Ocean to do the night do.
So typical, Julie.
Starting at 30,000. That was it wasn't in our budget, but just.
Yeah, and you kind of don't question
Can
that.
you imagine that, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome Billy Ocean, the real one.
That would be awesome.
Or we could have said, ladies and gentlemen, Howard Wing.
Yeah.
Same response, I reckon.
Yeah.
Once they know who you are.
Pretty reasonable, actually.
Pardon?
I know it's a lot of money, but like,
It's doable
yeah,
for
it's
some
doable,
people
yeah.
in our budget. But
So I think this is so true that recommendations is always the one, isn't it? Because they can, if somebody's seen it and maybe they haven't, it's like, look, trust me, it made the day. It's worth every penny. Oh, I don't know. And then they see it and live it themselves.
Yeah,
and go,
'cause I was
you were
just
right.
thinking,
You know.
yeah.
for someone like Richard, and like I imagine most people that just have never seen you before that hear your price, that kind of go, oh, that's a lot of money. It's how do you as a supplier convince them that you are worth it and that it is really good value, and because until you've seen it, it's
So
hard,
if
it's
I've
hard to
got
know.
if I've got a couple that have
I
never
guess the
seen
answer
me,
is the recommendation.
because if I've
and
got a
your
couple that have never
reputation.
seen me, I probably won't get an email reply
Yeah.
when I send them the price,
It's your
which is
reputation,
fine.
isn't it?
I'm not,
Yeah.
and I don't want to convince somebody that I'm good at what I do.
Yeah.
It has to be the other way around. Really, it's like I want to be convinced that I want to do your wedding.
Yeah.
So it's never like that for me. I never ever, and this I think is the beauty of the wedding industry. Sometimes you don't have to sell yourself. If you're good at what you do and you got a good product, you don't need to sell it. You know, and so
But
there's
also
no
your
selling involved.
your socials will sell you massively. You two have got gorgeous Instagrams.
Yeah, mine's
so
not the
you're
best,
on
but
it.
it's
You
all
are
right.
on it. Like there are some people that are quite stagnant. Darren again was putting videos on of our wedding on his stories for 3 days after. I loved it. Excited
But you know
to
what?
look at his
That's
stories.
really
It's cool.
important for those people. Say I put all that stuff on and it gets shared by all the guests.
Yeah.
One of their friends of friends. Oh, I saw it at that wedding. What was
Yeah.
that guy like? We're getting married next year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think he is. Yeah, he's not cheap. Oh God, he made it. He was brilliant. Oh, and then it piques their interest. They've had like a secondary recommendation, if you like.
Yeah.
I'll get them through the door. Then we talk it through, and they're like, yeah, I can't have wedding without you now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it? So for me, nobody knows me. They never see me. I'm probably not going to get that booking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, social media is everything.
They're missing out, by the way, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like to keep myself exclusive. You know, I could do 70 weddings a year again if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I only do 25 to 30 weddings now, and I keep it. I've got a good balance with it now. I think the recommendations give me.
Yeah, but there's
what
an
I want,
authority
you know.
and a branding kind of slant to that, isn't there? To go, I only do this many, and you know, if you want me, it's quite hard to get me, sort of thing.
Yeah,
It's aspirational.
Be able
isn't it?
to choose as well.
yeah. I kind of let my couples always let them know that when I have the first meeting
Yeah.
with them. You know, I only do certain weddings.
Yeah.
I only do so many weddings.
Yeah.
The people that I really like, and the venues I like to go to, and it's for me, it's all about the people mainly.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
My tips for any bride and groom would be to do what I did, and especially if it's your second wedding, you can do what the hell you like. You don't have to follow tradition. You don't have to do what your mum says. You can invite who the hell you like, and you can throw caution to the wind. And if you want your pictures taken at 8 o'clock in the morning, you can. And if you want a silent disco, you can. You can do whatever you like on your second wedding.
Yeah.
But I would suggest.
And your first.
Of course you can. Chop your day up and try and entertain your guests.
In different sections.
Regardless of what that might look like to you, but try and, my tattoos, they cost me about 30 quid in total. Like,
Yeah.
people had them on for days. They were hilarious.
Yeah, and there's not much money for just a talking
No.
point, a bit of
No.
entertainment, something for
The llamas.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have had the llamas had I have got married somewhere corporate or a beautiful hotel. It was the llamas came off the back that we were getting married in this
That'd
amazing
be wild, wouldn't it?
rustic, 2 llamas in
running through a hotel lobby.
I like the fact thinking your day in sections. It's almost like you're making 4 different separate parties, but they're all going to come together, aren't they?
Yeah.
Drinks a section,
And-
dinner, turnaround, night do,
Yeah.
different sections, having different things going on, keeping that room alive and keeping
Yeah.
the guests entertained all day. It's such a memorable wedding.
Yeah.
I always ask my couples what the best weddings you've ever been to, and it's always based around entertainment, generally.
Yeah.
Whether it be great magician, sax player, DJs, whatever.
Yeah.
They always mention. They never mention about how nice the favours were.
It's the atmosphere,
So
isn't it?
it's the atmosphere. That's what carries. But
yeah,
Well,
I think a lot of people put a lot into the
look rather than the feel.
bit, you know, like a lot of time and effort into making things for the tables to look lovely or whatever, you know. And I was like, on this occasion, I don't really care too much about that. I'll leave that to the florist. I'd rather do it stress-free and just make sure everybody's entertained. And that was that was my thing.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Well, this has been like, it's really interesting for me, and it's a good reminder because when it's very easy to get wrapped up in your service that you provide and thinking that I do it a certain way, to then hear it from an actual bride and groom's perceptions and what actually you valued and what you found important. It's good little reminders, because it's not necessarily how I would, like what you're saying about your photos. You just wanted immediacy. Like I don't do that at all. But already I'm thinking like, oh yeah, no, that is probably true.
I need to give them something straight away.
Maybe I do need, so I've taken away. So this has been great. So thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, and I think this episode's perfect for people planning their wedding and also suppliers as well, so they can get good insight into how the mind works of a crazy bride.
Yep,
definitely crazy.
By the way, I mean, yeah, you've been on it. I wasn't even at your wedding, and I could tell that you've just planned it to a T.
Yeah, I think it comes with age as well. I've been to loads of weddings, some good,
I don't know. I think it's
average.
I think someone else might have done it differently to you, Jill.
Took all my favourite bits from every wedding I've ever been to.
That's the one, isn't
you
it?
could have been a wedding
and
planner.
then thrown a few llamas and a silent disco in, a bit of my own essence.
Fuck the silent disco. Don't get a silent disco.
Do.
What a rubbish idea. Right. Cut. Finish.
So thanks so much for listening. We really hope that you found this episode insightful, inspirational, and if you did enjoy that, then please consider subscribing to us wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify. We're Think Wedding Business.
We're also on YouTube and Instagram, so if you want to watch us, you can go over to YouTube and find us at Think Wedding Business, and the same over on Instagram to keep up with all of our future episodes.
We'd really love you to subscribe and join us on this journey, and if you do like this content, please consider giving us a 5-star review. It just helps us get seen and helps spread the word.
So thanks again for listening,
Wings
and we'll see you
out.
next time.
Bye-bye.